John
Yeah.
from Canada wants to ask Kelley if the United States is based on Christianity. Well, let's see. That's an interesting conversation. Gives me time to. Okay, you guys talk. John, hi.
Hi, Armin. How are you?
Good, good.
Armin,
Ask your question from Kelley.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelley, how are you?
I'm doing great, John. It's been a long time.
Yeah. But, okay, well, before I ask the question, I just want to say I heard your conversation with a previous caller named Chuck, and even though he was being unreasonable, I thought you handled that conversation very well. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, Armin's great. So.
No, you were great too, Kelley.
So do I think
I'd like to ask a question. Yeah.
Do I think the United States was based on Christianity? I do and I don't.
Well,
I believe that.
Okay, explain yourself.
I believe that many of our founding fathers were Christians, and they put their Christian ideals in the way they wanted to shape this country. I wouldn't say the country was based on Christianity. It is specifically not like the Second Amendment saying that we need to have a Second Amendment. No, Second Amendment's First Amendment, right? I've had a bad head cold all week. I really have. But that separation of church and state, that the United States will make will not prefer one religion over another. And I think if a lot of our founding fathers understood that there had just been like a 200-300 year religious wars all across Europe, and they didn't want to get involved in that kind of thing in this country. And they were more protecting their religion from the government than the government from religion. And I think that's a big misunderstanding of a lot of people today who think that we shouldn't have a separation between church and state. I don't think they realize that was really put there to protect their religion from the government. But I think that the main founding fathers, Jefferson, Washington, Benjamin Franklin, were all deists. So I don't think that this country was based on Christianity, but I think there were Christian influences on the founding of this nation. Does that make sense?
So are you saying that? Okay, let's see if I can word this properly. Are you saying that the government can't tell anyone in the country or the country itself, the citizens, that you're going to follow Christianity or any other religion? Like you're free to practice any religion that you want. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what it says in the Constitution. Right. So that's what.
They were Christian, the founding fathers.
No, not all of them. Most of the main founding fathers, as I just said, were deists.
Oh, okay. What is a deist?
Somebody who believes that there's a God that kind of like created the universe and then just left it on its own. That was basically the idea that a lot of these guys had. So Jefferson himself studied many different religions. Pardon?
Okay. What's the difference between a deist and a theist or a Christian? What's the difference?
Because they're not saying it's the Christian God, for one, and there's no Jesus involved in deism, for two.
Okay. Let me make it simple. They believed in God and non-intervening God, but they didn't believe in Jesus Christ. They didn't believe in miracles. They didn't believe in prayers. They didn't believe in, the Bible, but they believed there was a God. And they didn't believe in religions. They considered God to be, real, but religions are man-made, but God is not man-made. That's what they believe.
Oh, I see. Okay. And is that the threat of Project 25?
I think Project 2025's threats are more political and social than religious. A lot of the threats are done with a religious mindset, like going after trans people, going after gay people, and there's obviously religious overtones to that. Going after abortion, there's obviously religious overtones to that. So there are parts of 2025 that are religiously motivated, I believe. I believe that that's how a certain part of our government gained people in our government gained followings was to exploit those religious ideas among people and make it sound like our government had to do this. And they're trying, and again, this is why I said that establishment clause was put there to protect the religions from the government more than to protect the government from religion. Because what had now, let's say the next president decides that Presbyterianism is the new national religion. And then when he's gone, a Catholic gets elected and he says, oh, now everybody who is Presbyterian has to go to jail. And then the next president is a Confucianist. And then he says, well, all the Presbyterians and all the Catholics got to go to jail now. And that's exactly what happened throughout Europe for hundreds of years before we established this country. That's why the Establishment Clause was put there, was to protect people and their religion from the government.
Oh, that's excellent.
All you have to do is look at the history of the Tudors in England, Henry VIII and his children, and see what happened there. That's a really good example. And this was within the same time period. It was actually, to the colonies, this was less time than it is to the Civil War for us. So this was within social memory, that Catholics were burned at the stake, and then 10 years later, Protestants were burned at the stake, and then 10 years later, Catholics were being burned at the stake, and 10 years later, it was Protestants again.
Okay. John, I think you got your answer.